Hi everyone, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm broadcasting to you this session of IELTS from Budapest, Hungary. I hope everybody is doing great. Hi Kyber, very studious, always on time in class. I Abhi Jaswal, also very studious. Good to see students in already. Today we are doing IELTS general reading, some good strategies for Band 9, some true, false, not given. As usual, our materials are coming from our websites, gieltshelp.com for general IELTS help, 6 exams, 100 hours of video lessons, interactive course for your phone, tablet, PC, and aehelp.com, that's academicenglishhelp.com for academic IELTS, also 6 exams, interactive course, help with the speaking and with the writing on both of those websites. Check us out there. Join the full course. You can get our books from Amazon. Search for GE Helps General IELTS, AE Helps Academic IELTS. If you have questions, email me, adrian@gieltshelp.com. Hi Mahasin Salih. Hi Pachu. Hi Onisim. Good to see you back. We also have academic IELTS classes on our Academic English Help channel. That's from 15 o'clock Central European Time. Our IELTS classes are Central European Time. This class is 13:30 to 14:30. Academic class is 15 to 16 o'clock. Today, general reading. Tomorrow, listening practice. Then, no class 10th, 11th, and 12th. Back on the 13th. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's kick it off with some reading for the General IELTS. General IELTS has 5 passages, 2 short passages for Section 1, 2 short passages for Section 2, and 1 long one for Section 3. We'll look at a Section 1 passage from our exam book number 5. So, like I said, we have our own exams. They're very similar to Cambridge IELTS. The difficulty is the same, just obviously different topics for you. Here, we're going to read this one. Giving to charity, a call to action. This reading, you can actually listen to a native British speaker read this for practice. It's on our website. It's CD5, track 5. So let's do that now, ladies and gents. Let's read this passage together. You have to practice your reading, not just searching for answers, but actually, yes, actually reading. And we have great practice for you. So let's do that together. Read aloud. I will play you the audio from the website. This is just some simple reading practice. Your goal here is to copy the reader, follow the text. Okay? All right. CAE is not exactly the same as IELTS, I believe, Onisim. There are different standard tests of English, so I'm not sure of the acronym for CAE, but I don't believe that's the same. Okay, so for those of you who have our websites, this is our access to our websites. This is our General IELTS website here with the green background. This is our academic one here with the blue background. Make sure you join the correct website. When you're on the page, gieltshelp.com, you can click that big red button, join, spend a couple dollars so you don't have to spend a whole few $100s for another IELTS. And then you can log into your My Student account at the top, which we will do now. And of course, as I mentioned at the beginning, there are practice exams, interactive course videos, and of course audio. So right now I'm just jumping to our audio, which is here. And we are jumping to CD5, track number 5, because this is the 5th test and this is the reading audio. In the real IELTS, ladies and gents, you don't have audio for your reading, obviously, but when you're studying at home, it's really, really useful. Hi, Eugene. Okay, so here I'm going to play the audio. Just read along with the audio, okay? And then we'll look at strategy the reading and questions after. So just get ready to read. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Giving to charity, a call to action. This spring, Dunsmuir Investments is encouraging our employees to give generously to their favourite charities. It is incredibly important to give back to the community and to those in need. We have put together this primer to help convince you to give and how to determine who to give to. Why should you give? Well, first of all, Dunsmuir Investments will match 100% of any and all employee charitable contributions. This means that your donation to charity is practically doubled. We take charitable giving very seriously, and while we love it when our employees donate, we know we must walk the walk as well. Second, charitable giving makes you feel good. There are few better feelings than knowing you are making a difference in someone's life. Third, charitable giving sets a good example for your children, other family members, and the community at large. When everyone gives, the world is a far better place. We encourage you to take up this call to action and do your part in making our community, our country, and our planet that much better. To whom should you give? The answer to this question is not simple. There are a number of factors at play. First, do you have a family connection to a particular cause? For example, you may have a relative with cystic fibrosis, or a parent who died from a particular type of cancer. If so, you may decide to give to charities that benefit these illnesses. Second, you want to give to a charity that does a lot of good for each pound they receive. Not all charities are equal. We have attached a list of our highest rated charities to this memo. These are charities that have demonstrated that a high percentage of each pound they receive goes to the place that needs it. Finally, you should give to a cause whose end goal is the cure of a disease, not merely the management of it. For example, many charitable contributions to cancer charities end up funding the development of medications that merely extend patients' lives instead of curing the disease. It is our belief at Dunsmuir Investments that we as a society should be trying to cure diseases, not just manage them. Please note that charitable giving is not mandatory, and failing to do so will not result in any punitive action against employees.
All right, students. Now, in the real IELTS, don't panic. You don't have to read that fast. You have more time. Okay, you can read about 30% slower. But this is natural speed for a native speaker. You want to eventually practice getting to this speed of reading and comprehension, okay? So let's look at the questions, talk a little bit of strategy, and then we will go over the passage again and answer these questions. So here we have true, false, not given. A lot of students are familiar and worried with these questions. True, false, not given is a question that you should not read before the passage, okay? So here's some really important strategy to keep in mind. Now, true, false, not given here is the only question in this passage. So in this case, in general IELTS, you could do one of two strategies. You could search for the answers while you're reading, or you could do the whole reading and answer these questions at the end. Now you're probably thinking, what is Adrian talking about? And I heard him say before you should never search for these types of questions. You should not skim and scan, especially if you're doing the academic IELTS, and you should not skim and scan if you have more than one type of question. But if you have just a true, false, not given question, you could search for these answers. Don't worry if you're a little bit confused. I'll show you in a minute, and it will make sense. Okay? So in general IELTS, and this is just for general IELTS, so not academic IELTS. Academic IELTS, it doesn't work because in academic IELTS, the passage is too long, okay? There are multiple types of questions, so you cannot search for true, false, not given, okay? So in general IELTS reading only, you have two ways to solve true, false, not given. Number one, skim and scan for answers. Can be tricky and frustrating, but effective. Or number two, answer after the passage using logic. Okay, we'll look at both of these strategies today and you can compare them. Okay, so you'll have an actual comparison for these two. Okay, skimming and scanning for true, false, not given type questions in general IELTS. Again, it works because the passage is short and it is the only type of question. Okay. Usman, the skimming and scanning that I'm showing you right now, that will work for you to get your 27 to 30. Okay. So it is the only if the passage is short. This is important. Keep this in mind. It works in a short passage, not the long third section. So not section 3. It doesn't work well for that. Okay. But it works in a short passage. It works when it is the only question type for the passage. Okay, keep in mind that the answers for true, false, not given are in the order of the passage. Okay, what does that mean? So that means that question 1, the answer will come first. Question 2, the answer will come second. Question 3, the answer will come third in the passage. So the answers come in the same order in the passage as the questions. If you have a short passage like this one, you can search for the answer. And because it's the only question type, so it's only true, false, not given for this passage, you can search for the answer. Okay? But that's very important that the only time you do this, especially if you're closer to an intermediate level student, the only time you do this is in this situation where it's a short passage and it's the only type of question. I hope that makes sense. If somebody is not clear. So Gabriel says, what do you mean by question type? So in the IELTS reading, Gabriel, there's 11 types of questions that you can see. True, false, not given, multiple choice, filling in the blanks, short answer, matching endings, and more. Okay, so there are different question types. If you have more than just the true, false, not given, don't search for the answers because then you have to read the passage again when you get to the next question type. Okay? I know a lot of students have exams coming up, so good luck with that. So I'll give you an example here, okay? So the trick here is match the answer with the paraphrase. Okay? Paraphrase means the synonym in the passage. All right, so here, the true, false, not given says the company gives the same amount to charity as its employees. So the company gives the same amount to charity as the employees. Is it true? Is it false? Is it not given? So I begin reading the passage. Let's do this together. Okay, so here we go. Read with me. Giving to charity, a call to action. Okay, so it means donating money take action. This spring, Dunsmuir Investment is encouraging our employees to give generously to their favorite charities. It is incredibly important to give to the community and to those in need. We have put together this primer to help convince you to give and how to determine who to give to. Why should you give? Well, first of all, Dunsmuir Investment will match 100% of any and all employee charitable contributions. So, is question 1 true? Well, what part of the question is going to be paraphrased? The company could be business. Okay. Same amount could be equal amount. Okay. Or match in this case. All right. So if I'm searching for the answer here, then I could say, okay, I think I just read a paraphrase, so same way to say same amount to charity, which is Dunsmuir Investment will match 100% of any and all employee charitable contributions. So this sentence tells me that the answer is true, okay? Because match 100% of any employee contribution is the same as saying give the same amount to charity as its employees, okay? So this one for sure is true. Okay, so hopefully I get this answer. It's very, very important to get the first one correct if you are using this first technique of skimming and scanning. Okay, again, only use skimming and scanning for general IELTS reading for the simple passages. Okay, don't use it for any other part of academic IELTS or for passage 3. It doesn't work. For the simple passages in general IELTS, it can be effective. Okay, so here, it's very important that you get the first one correct. Why? Why is it really important that you get the first true and false correct, especially if you're using this number 1 technique? What's the reason for that, students? So for this strategy, it's not my favorite strategy. I like strategy 2 more, but I know a lot of students like their skimming and scanning, so that's why I'm showing you this. So for this strategy, it is very important to get the first answer correct because Abhishek says it increases our confidence to solve the other ones. In some sense, you're right, Abhishek. To be more specific, it shows you the location of where you need to begin for your answers in the passage. Okay? So because it identifies the location or spacing for the following answers. Okay, so what I mean, students, is if I know that for this number 1, the answer is coming from this part here, then I know that for answer number 2, it has to be after this, or it should be after this, okay? So answer 2 should be coming from here, answer 3. If I think answer 1 is from here, then I'm already lost, okay? Because there is no answer up here yet. Yeah, so the location of the other answers, Rahul, are related to the location of that first true, false, not given. So if you have to take a little bit of extra time to make sure that you got number 1 correct, do that. Okay, it's very important to get number 1 correct. So then I go to the next question and continue on. So the feeling a person gets when donating to charity is cited as a reason for doing so. Okay, so the way a person feels when they give money to a charity is a good reason to do it. That's the paraphrase. When you're practicing at home, you should try to paraphrase these true, false, not given sentences as much as possible. So the way an individual feels after giving to the charity, make sure you write the whole. So giving is another way to say donating, okay? The way a person feels is the feeling, individual instead of person. So I'm finding different ways to state the sentence so that I can search for it. Students, if you're looking for keywords and you're just looking to match the words between the question and the passage, you will be in trouble. There's too much paraphrasing. Okay? So be really careful. All right. Let's take a look at where we can find this. So again, one more time, we're looking for this answer in the passage. The feeling a person gets when donating to charity is cited as a reason for doing so. So we take charitable giving very seriously, and while we love it, when our employees donate, we know we must walk the walk as well. Second, charitable giving makes you feel good. There are few better feelings than knowing you are making a difference in someone's life. Okay, so that sentence tells me that this seems to be true. Okay, so the passage is saying that the reason you should donate, why you should give, is because it makes you feel good. So here it's descriptive paraphrasing. It's called descriptive. It's describing the feeling. So yes, Ali, yes, Jamesh, yes, Abhishek, it's true. Okay, so again, it's true. All right. So this technique of skimming and scanning, it's useful if you need like a 6.5 on the general IELTS. But if you need 7 or more, it's not the best technique. Okay. So here again, it's true and it's true. So far, this technique of skimming and scanning is working for us. Hey, 2 for 2. We're doing great. Fantastic, students. You're going, yeah, I got this. No problem. Here comes band 9. When will I get into trouble? So at what point in my skimming and scanning might I get into some serious trouble? It's an interesting question. Think about this while I finish the note. Okay. So keep this in mind. In general IELTS, skimming and scanning for true, false, not given is an okay strategy for band 6.5. Now remember what I said, it can be tricky and frustrating, so it can be an annoying. So when will you get into some trouble? Abhishek says when we are not able to find what we are looking for. So for not given answers. That's right. Okay. Absolutely, Gabriel Biju. That's when you will get into trouble, is when you come up against the first not given. And students, I guarantee you that when you have 8 questions like here, there will be at least 1, if not 2, not given questions. So what happens when you get to a not given? So what do you think with this strategy? What will happen if you get to a not given question? So what happens? What are you likely going to do when you get to your first not given. And it could be the first one. It could be the very first question. And I've seen it on some IELTS that it's the first one. So the new no and the not given will be really frustrating. Gabriel says, we're going to waste a lot of our time searching for that answer. Yeah, because what's going to happen is what Abhi Jaswal says is you're going to end up searching the whole passage. So you're going to read, and go, wait a second, I should have seen the answer already. Why am I not seeing this, right? I'm probably into the next question already. And this is why it's very dangerous to try skimming and scanning on a long passage. Okay, in a short passage, you might think, okay, it must be not given because I've read too much. But in a long passage, you don't know because maybe the next answer is only 1 or 2 paragraphs later. Okay, so be very careful. That's why I said this skimming, scanning does not work at all for long passages. Okay, only for the short ones a little bit. All right. So you search the whole passage, you search too much and waste time and get frustrated. All right. So yeah, that's true. So what should you do? Well, a better way to do it is to use a different strategy, okay? It's the strategy of logic, all right? So using logic and we can call this use machine logic or computer logic, which is if, and I'm sure some of you computer savvy scientists know exactly, programmers, what I'm talking about, the if-then logic. If this, then that. Some people call it the ITT logic. The if this, then that. If this, then that. Sorry, ITTT logic is what it's also called. So we can call it the ITTT method. All right, what is that? So what is the ITTT method for true, false, not given? The ITTT method for true, false, not given is simple logic. And for this one, you read the entire passage. So step 1, first, you read the entire passage, okay? And that's usually the best way to approach IELTS or any reading in university as well. Read the whole passage. Yes, you have enough time. Yes, you can do it, even if you're not the fastest reader. If you practice it the right way, you will do fine, okay? You don't need to get every answer correct. You just want to get most of them, all right? So first, read the entire passage and understand. Okay, I'll show you how. So you don't need to understand every word and every sentence, just 60%. Okay, so step number 1, always read the title, Giving to Charity. And use your critical thinking. So what is charity, right? So charity is donating, giving money. Okay, and it's not volunteering, it's giving money. All right? So that's what charity is. Why do we do it? To help the less fortunate, help people in need. Okay? How do we do it? By giving money to a specific type of charity like Cure for Cancer or helping elderly or orphaned children. So there are lots of different charities that we can give to help out, give money to help out. Okay, great. So let's read this passage together, and then we will answer these true, false, not given questions using computer logic. You'll see how. Okay? So this time, let's read nice and slow and pay attention to what you're reading. Try to visualize the information. So try to see the information. This passage, from our first read, it's about a company who is encouraging their workers to give money to their favorite charities because they will match that money. So if I work for the company and I want to give $1,000 to orphan children, Dunsmuir Investment, this company, will give $1,000 to orphan children also. Here we go, students. Read with me nice and loud, okay? Practice reading this these passages aloud at home. So here we go. Giving to charity, a call to action. This spring, Dunsmuir Investments is encouraging our employees, notice it's a big D, big I, so I know it's the name of a company, is encouraging our employees to give generously to their favorite charities. It is incredibly important to give back to the community and those in need. We have to put together this primer, or we have put together this primer to help convince you to give and how to determine who to give to. This speed of reading is absolutely enough on the IELTS to get a band 8, band 9. Why should you give? Well, first of all, Dunsmuir Investment. So heading is important. These are the reasons. Dunsmuir Investment will match 100% of any and all employee charitable contributions. This means that your donation to charity is practically doubled. We take charitable giving very seriously, and while we love it when our employees donate, we know we must walk the walk as well. Second, charitable giving makes you feel good. There are few better feelings than knowing you are making a difference in someone's life. Third, charitable giving sets a good example for your children, other family members, and the community at large. When everyone gives, the world is a far better place. We encourage you to take up this call to action and do your part in making our community, our country, and our planet that much better. To whom should you give? Okay, so again, pay attention to the question. The answer to this question is not simple. There are a number of factors at play. First, do you have a family connection to a particular cause? For example, you may have a relative with cystic fibrosis or a parent who died from a particular type of cancer. If so, you may decide to give to charities that benefit these illnesses. Second, you want to give to a charity that does a lot of good for each pound they receive. Not all charities are equal. We have attached a list of our highest rated charities to this memo. These are charities that have demonstrated that a high percentage of each pound they receive goes to the place that needs it. Finally, you should give to a cause whose end goal is the cure of a disease, not merely the management of it. For example, many charitable contributions to cancer charities end up funding the development of medications that merely extend patients' lives instead of curing the disease. It is our belief at Dunsmuir Investment that we as a society should be trying to cure diseases, not just manage them. Important, underline, star. Please note that charitable giving is not mandatory, and failing to do so will not result in any punitive action against employees. All right, great. So I read the passage. Hopefully I understand about 60, 70%. If I do, I should be able to get a very good mark. True, false, not given follows a very clear logic. Okay? So understand about %60 or more. Okay? It is necessary to have a clear idea of the topic and controlling idea of the passage. What's the topic of this passage, students? What are we talking about here? Abhishek says charity. It's about donating. Yeah, giving to charity. So James Rolalko and Abhishek, the two put together, is the right answer. So donating to charity. Okay, that's the topic. What's the controlling idea? Usually you can get the topic and the controlling idea right from the title. Okay. If you don't understand it in the title, hopefully you understand after you read it. So giving to charity, a call to action. So here's our topic, donating to charity. What's the controlling idea? So Jamesh says, if interested and no force to donate money and donate only for curing a disease. I think you're saying a little bit too much, Jamesh. I think it's a little bit simpler than that. Okay. So what idea controls this information? What's the goal of this memo? Okay. This is a type of company memo, potentially an email that they send out. What is their goal here? What is this company trying to do with this memo, this information that it's sending to its employees? Okay, so that's what this is, clearly. Dunsmuir Investment, somebody in high management or executive, is sending this memo to all of the employees. What are they trying to do? Abhishek says, equally donating to charity? Close, Abhishek. I think you can be even more specific. So if I think about this a little bit, hopefully, eventually I'll come up with encouraging employees to donate to charities. Okay? So in this case, this is our topic and controlling idea. Our topic is donating to charities, and our controlling idea is encouraging employees to donate to charities within this company. And we could be a little bit more specific and say why and how. Okay, those are the two big questions. So topic, controlling idea. Practice identifying this at home. Okay, practice identifying this at home. All right. So now what can we do with that to figure out true, false, not given questions? So here we go. Next, so after you read the passage, you can answer the true, false, not given questions quickly and confidently without searching by following these steps. Okay, and this is where that computer logic comes in. So number one, ask, is this important for this topic and controlling idea? If yes, then true or false? If no, then not given. Let me show you. All right, let's jump back to this first question. The company gives the same amount to charity as its employees. Is this statement important for the topic of giving to charities and the controlling idea of convincing the employees or motivating, encouraging employees to give money? Is it important for that? Okay? So here, that's the question. Okay? And you practice this at home. You can do it very fast on the IELTS and it becomes very easy. So is it important to know that the company gives the equal amount of money as their employee for the topic and controlling idea of encouraging employees to donate? Now, it seems like a long question. And Gabriel says, yeah, absolutely, that's important. So the goal of this memo is to encourage, to motivate your employees to give money. So is it important whether or not the company will also give money? Yes, it is. Okay, so yes, it's important. So your answer to the question is yes. Then your second one is it true or is it false? Okay, so if your answer is yes to the first question, which is about importance, then you ask, is it true or is it false? Okay, now in this example, we know it's true, therefore it's true, right? If we don't know, that's when we can look. All right, let's go to the next one. We'll do a few of these and you'll get the hang of it. Don't worry about it. So once you do a couple, sometimes in the beginning, students are like, what? What is he saying? But then once you do a couple, they're like, I got it. Okay, it makes sense. Okay, so the feeling a person gets when donating to charity is cited as a reason for doing so. So in the passage, it talks about that. What's the question? Students, what's the question here? Somebody type the full question here for me. I know it's a little bit of typing, but what's the full question to answer this? So I'm not looking for the answer, students. I'm just looking for the question. What's the question I need to ask? So I read the passage, I get to this, and I ask a question. What is the question? Yeah, Abhishek, you're close. So notice mine. So you're saying, is it important to know a person's feeling when they donate to charity to encourage or motivate employees to do so? So the answer is yes, or yes, it is. So it must be true or false. Okay, and then we ask, is it mentioned in this passage? Yes, it is. Therefore, it is true. Okay? So you're very welcome, M.A. Hosan. Thank you for acknowledging. Yeah, so it's absolutely mentioned. Therefore, it's true. If I don't know, I can do a little bit of searching, but at least I know it's in the passage. So at least I know that it's not a not given. Here we go. Let's continue on to some new questions that we haven't seen before. So charitable giving to children and family members sets a good example for the community. So giving to children and family members sets a good example to the community. Is it important to this article whether or not if we give money to our children and our family, it sets a good example to the community? Jabez says, not given. Yeah, you have to be very careful with the way the question is worded, right? So is it important to encourage my employees to give to charity? that, hey, if you give to your family members and you give to children, that sets a good example for the community. It's not important, right? So careful with the wording of the question. So here, is it important for this passage to donate money to children and family? No. Therefore, not given. Okay? It's not false. It's not false, Abhi Jaswal, because it doesn't talk about that. It doesn't say that it's good or bad. It just doesn't talk about it. Right? So it's not given. So here we go. Number 4. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit more of a chance to answer on your own. Number 4. A family connection is not a reason to give to a particular charity. What's the question here? The question here is it important for the reasons or how to give to charity if there's a family connection to give to a charity? So is this important? Number 4, if I have a family connection to giving to charities, like hint, hint, I have a family member who's very ill, cancer or cystic fibrosis or some other disease, then I'm likely to give to a charity which helps people like that. So is that a reason for it? Is it important? Is it important to talk about family connection as a reason to give to a special kind of charity? For this topic, encouraging people to give, why and how. Remember the controlling idea, why and how, right? Is it important? Yes, it's very important. Okay, so is a family connection important to give to charities? Yes, it's important. Think about real life, right? If you have a family member who suffers from a certain type of illness, you're more likely to give to a charity that helps with that type of illness, right? Breast cancer is one of the most common examples of this. So yes, it's important. Is it true that it's not a reason? Always pay attention to negatives. So is it true? Shubham Kumar says, no, it's not true. So therefore, it has to be false. So in your answer sheet, you put the big letter F, right? It's important, but it's not true. So number 1, true. Number 2, true. Number 3, not given. Number 4, false. Okay, so far, I hope this makes sense. Does this make sense, students? Does anybody have a question about this strategy? It is the most effective strategy for true, false, not given, with the highest accuracy rate and the fastest once you practice it and master it. We've been teaching IELTS around the world now through our websites and software with this strategy included for the last 10 years. And every student that practiced this strategy, every student said that it works better than searching. Almost every day we have an email come in where somebody says, oh, wow, thanks, teacher. My true, false, not given answer rate increased by 20, 30, 50% by using that strategy. So, of course, you need to practice it a bit, but once you get the hang of it, it will work. Okay, number 5, it does not matter who or what you give to as long as you give generously. First question. First question. Thank you, Jamesh, for supporting my statement. 5th question. It does not matter who or what you give to as long as you give generously. Is it important for this passage to know whether it matters or not who or what you give to? So the company memo is encouraging people to donate. Does it matter? Okay, always go through the steps, students. So don't get one danger with this strategy, especially for academic IELTS, which is a little bit more difficult, is that students get overconfident and they go, oh, and they go through the questions too quickly in their head and they're like, it's false, it's not given, it's true. Don't rush, okay? That's really important. Don't rush. Take your time, ask the questions. So does it matter, according to this topic and controlling idea, who or what you give to? Yes, absolutely. So is it important for the passage? Practice the full questions at home. Your answer should be yes. Okay, yes, it's important. According to the passage, does it matter who you give to or what you give to? Yes, it matters. So this is false. Okay, so true, true, not given, false, false. All right, a few more questions. They do get more and more difficult as you go along, so let's keep going. Number 6, yep, Shubham Kumar, yep, you're on the right track there. Yeah, a little bit of delay between me and your comments, but you get the right idea. Okay, number 6, higher rated charities do more good for each pound they receive. Okay, getting a little bit more tricky now. So, is it important to know for the passage if charities that have higher ratings do more good for each pound? Is this important? So is it important to discuss how much good a charity does with the money that you give them for this controlling idea of encouraging employees to give money will match that money? Gabriel says, yes, that's important. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I agree that it should be important. Is it true that charities that have higher ratings do more good with each pound they receive? This is the first question where my answer for the second question could be maybe. Okay, Aksa, you're getting it? Perfect. So yeah, here I might say maybe, I'm not sure. I remember reading something about higher rated charities, but I'm not sure if they do more. Okay, well, I answered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with confidence using this strategy. I didn't have to search. So if I say maybe, then I can look at the passage a little bit, somewhere near the last 1/3, right? Because this is the first 2/3 of the passage here, roughly. So somewhere around the beginning of the last 1/3 of this passage should be something about higher rated charities. It should be there, okay? You already have one valuable piece of advice or information that you know it's in the passage because you know it's important. That's already very valuable because you know you can look for it, okay? So already you're in a much better position than if you're just randomly searching for information. So I go back and I look for this higher rated charities, okay? And right away I can see this highest rated, okay? So doing a visual scan, it might take you a little bit longer. I realize that, but no problem. You'll find this. It's in the last 1/3. Okay, notice. So you want to give to a charity that does a lot of good for each pound they receive. Not all charities are equal. We have attached a list of our highest rated charities to this memo. Now this is our highest rated charities to this memo. These are charities that have demonstrated that a high percentage of each pound they receive goes to the place it needs. Okay, so that tells me it's probably true. So higher rated charities do more good for each pound they receive. Should be true. I'm confident now. And go on to the last two questions. The company advocates giving to charities which will extend people's lives. So is it important to know if the charity that the company suggests will make people's lives longer? Is that important? The answer is yes. Is it true? Is it true that this charity is, or this company is saying, give to charities which will make people's lives longer? Well, that's a tricky one, right? Because it says that we should give to charities that cure diseases and not just simply extend people's lives. So here it says it needs to cure diseases. So I would go with a false, but it's a little bit tricky because if you cure a disease, it also extends a person's life. However, I'm going to go with false. You might disagree with me and say it's true. It's okay. We'll see the answer sheet in the end. No worries. Again, remember, 6, 7, and 8 are the most difficult questions. Okay? Okay, let's go to the last one. Failing to donate will reflect poorly on an employee. So not donating will look really bad on the employee. Is it important for this company to explain to the employees what will happen if they don't donate? Is it important? Yes, absolutely. Okay, remember, it's a memo. So yes. Is it true? So do you think the company will punish the employee if they don't give their money, their wages? No, absolutely not. So it's false. Okay, good. So we have our answers. Let's now look at the answer sheet and see how many we got correct. In a perfect world, you get all of them, 8. But if you're looking to get a band 7, 7.5, then getting 6 or 7 is enough. Okay? So let's take a look and see how we did. Answer keys are always included in our books, of course, at the back. So here we go. Number 1, true. Number 2, true. Number 3, not given. Number 4, false. Number 5, false. Number 6, true. Number 7, false. Number 8, not given. Okay. So it looks like we got 7 from 8. Hey, that's fantastic. Okay. We got 1 wrong. Not given for this 8th one. Your question is probably why? Okay, well, go back and check. Okay, so let's go back and check that one real quick. Why is that not given? So you can learn how IELTS thinks. So here it says, please note that charitable giving is not mandatory and failing to do so will not result in any punitive action against employees. Failing to donate will reflect poorly on an employee. Why is that not given instead of false? Can anybody figure it out? Gabriel says it's not in the passage. Yeah, so we got 7 out of 8, so don't panic. This is for band 9. Absolutely. Up he says, well, the passage says that no action will be taken. Okay, So will not result in any punitive action. It means that they will not be punished, okay? So they're not going to get fired from their job. They're not going to lose their vacation time. They're not going to lose their bonus money. So no action. But this says a different idea. It says failing to donate will reflect poorly. Reflect poorly doesn't mean a negative action. It just means it looks bad. Now think about it, students. If everybody in the company donates money and you're the only one who doesn't want to give even $2 to help children or whatever, does it look bad? Yeah, it kind of does. Okay, it's going to look a little bit bad if all your colleagues and everybody gives at least $1 to their favorite charities. But this passage doesn't talk about it. It doesn't talk about how that looks, because that wouldn't be correct. It wouldn't be correct for a company memo or email to say, hey, if you don't give to charities, you're going to look like a jerk, so do it. Okay? It's not given. They're not going to give that information. Quite tricky, because it's easy to confuse reflect poorly with negative action, but it's not equal to negative action. Okay, that's where the mistake is. So a little bit tricky, but hey, if that's the only one you got wrong, you're doing great. All right, so don't worry about it. All right, if you got 7 out of 8, you're doing fantastic. So give yourself a pat on the back. All right, students, so very importantly, remember there are 2 ways to approach true, false, not given. 1, search for the answers, get into some difficult situations, especially with not given. Or number 2, use this computer logic, the if this, then that logic, and do it faster, easier, higher accuracy rate. Practice that at home. Thank you so much, students, for watching today's lesson. Remember to check out our websites. This is our general IELTS website with the green background. Click that big red button. Do yourself a favor. Join us. Get all the right strategies to get high IELTS band scores. Okay? And for academic IELTS, go to this website here with the blue background. Get the right strategies there. Remember, true, false, not given. In academic IELTS, the only way to do it is by logic. You cannot skim and scan for answers. So I hope that helped everybody. Have a great rest of your day. I'm going to do an academic reading lesson on our Academic English Help channel. Okay, it's called Academic English Help. In 30 minutes will be academic reading. So if you're doing academic IELTS, check us out there. You're very welcome, Jamesh. I'm happy that you picked up this strategy and found it useful. You're welcome, Gabriel. You're welcome, Mukesh. Bye for now, everyone. Much love to all of you. Keep up the good work. Ciao.